Have you ever heard about Ronald Reed, the janitor who surprised the world when people discovered he had saved over $8 million by the time he passed away in 2014? Yes, you heard that right. He wasn't a lottery winner, nor did he inherit a fortune. He quietly built wealth through consistent habits and smart behavior. And that is the key message. When it comes to money, how you behave matters far more than how intelligent you are. You don't need an Ivy League degree or a job on Wall Street to become wealthy. As Morgan Housel explains, financial success is not an exact science. It is mostly about discipline, patience, and mindset. Here are 5 of the most powerful lessons from the psychology of money. Lesson 1. Everything has a price. Imagine you want a brand new watch. You go to the store, pick the one you love, and now you face 2 choices. You either pay for it, or you try to grab it and run. Obviously, most people would pay, because we all know that having something valuable always comes with a cost. Investing works the same way. If you want higher returns, you have to accept a price, which is volatility and uncertainty. Think of investors who saw the potential of Netflix a decade ago. They could have made a fortune, but only if they had the courage to hold through massive drops. At one point in 2011, Netflix stock lost around 80% of its value. Would you have had the strength to hold on? Even investing in something safe like an S&P 500 index fund is not smooth sailing. Since 1980, you would have gone through more than a dozen periods where your portfolio fell 20%, and even one where it dropped by half. The lesson is clear. The stock market is one of the best tools for building wealth, but the price you pay is short-term pain. If you want the reward, you must be willing to accept the cost. Lesson 2. Knowing what's enough. Capitalism is fantastic at creating wealth, but it also creates endless comparison. Maybe you are a successful doctor making $500,000 a year. That sounds like a dream to most people, until you move into a wealthy neighborhood and meet your new neighbor, a CEO earning $10 million annually. Suddenly, your success doesn't feel like much. And guess what? That CEO might also feel small compared to a billionaire athlete or someone like Jeff Bezos, who gained tens of billions in a single year. The danger of this mindset is that if you are always chasing more, you will never feel satisfied. Many people take reckless risks, chasing status or competing with others, only to lose everything. The takeaway is simple. Wealth is not only about how much you accumulate. It is about knowing when to stop and realizing you already have enough. Lesson 3. What looks crazy to you might make sense to others. People often make financial decisions that, from the outside, seem irrational. But everyone has different backgrounds, experiences, and goals. Take the lottery, for example. In the United States, households with the lowest incomes spend hundreds of dollars a year on lottery tickets, far more than wealthier households. At first glance, that sounds foolish. But for someone living paycheck to paycheck, buying a ticket is buying hope. It is paying for a tiny chance at a better life. Understanding this helps you become a better investor. You will not blindly copy other people's strategies. You will respect that what works for them may not work for you. You will focus on your own path instead of chasing fads like meme stocks or speculative trends. The bottom line is that different perspectives create different financial behaviors, and that is perfectly rational when seen from their point of view. Lesson 4. Be prepared for the unpredictable. Think about world-shaping events. The Great Depression, World War II, the 2008 financial crisis, and even COVID-19. Almost no one saw them coming, but they transformed markets and lives forever. These are what investors call black swan events. Rare, unexpected, but massively impactful. If you had been investing in the S&P 500 over the past 20 years, but missed just the 4 best days in the market, your returns would have been dramatically lower. Timing the market is nearly impossible. The lesson here is simple. It is smarter to build resilience, to prepare both mentally and financially for shocks, than to waste energy trying to predict the future. Lesson 5. The temptation of pessimism. If I told you that global debt is exploding, inflation is returning, geopolitics are unstable, and a new pandemic might be around the corner, you would probably feel anxious. Pessimism sounds convincing, doesn't it? On the other hand, if I pointed out that renewable energy is booming, technology is accelerating, and human life expectancy keeps rising, you might just shrug. Why? Because pessimism feels smart, while optimism often feels naive. Psychologists like Daniel Kahneman explain that humans are wired to pay more attention to threats than to opportunities. It is a survival mechanism. But here's the truth. While setbacks are sharp and dramatic, progress is slow and steady. That is why bad news makes headlines, while good news quietly compounds in the background. If you want to be a successful investor, you need to resist the seduction of pessimism and remember, the world is usually getting better, even if it does not always look that way in the moment. So, what can we learn from the psychology of money? You will not get rich without paying the price of volatility. Envy can be more destructive than greed, so learn what is enough. What looks irrational to you might be perfectly reasonable for someone else. Do not try to predict disasters, prepare to survive them. And finally, beware of pessimism. It often sounds clever, but optimism is what builds wealth. At the end of the day, building financial freedom is not about being the smartest person in the room. It is about having the right mindset, patience, and perspective. If you enjoyed this summary, consider checking out Morgan Housel's book for the full experience. And remember to subscribe, like, and share so more people can learn how to master the psychology of money.